The best radio station in the world. Is right here, right now.
Welcome to chillloverradio.net.
Crank it up and piss off the neighbors. You got your radio locked on to the hottest station.
This is an exclusive.
On air, online, on now.
Chill Lover Radio, you're live on the air.
Hi, how are you? It's Lisa Pure.
How's it going?
Everything's great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for calling in. I gotta give you the proper introduction. Chill Lover Radio listeners, we are honored to have with us this evening one of the most inspirational, amazing, creative, artistic, international vocalists, songwriter / producer in the music industry. Miss Dancing Queen of House and just dance in the flesh. From the state of Connecticut, fans, you know her, and it's hard not to love her. She is Miss Lisa Pure.
Thank you so much.
How's it going?
Thanks, I really, really appreciate that. I feel loved.
Well, we welcome you with open arms.
Thank you. Like I said, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, we appreciate you setting aside some time this evening. It's our pleasure to have you on the show.
It's
a pleasure. So I want to take it back, back in the days of how you got started. Now, when did you take an interest in music, and who influenced you to start doing music?
Okay, so I actually began singing when I was in the 4th grade, when I started singing at church. And I sang in church in the school choir, and then it turned into the school plays and chorus, and then in turn, after I graduated high school, I ended up being in the Miss Connecticut pageant. I was Miss Shoreline in the state of Connecticut. I opened up at Foxwoods Casino, where they had the Miss Connecticut pageant for the Miss America circuit there, doing a Whitney Houston song. And then from that point, I actually started my career as a dancer in New Haven, Hartford, Stamford, Norwalk, and I danced primarily for different DJs in the dance world, such as Dave Dresden, who is now part of Gabriel and Dresden. They're in the dance world as well, and they just got nominated for a Grammy for their work. So that's where I sort of started my introduction into dance music, I would say. And I started running a guest list at the Tunnel, where I ran into some producers. I would say Alex and Leo Baskin, Artie Cabrera. We teamed up. We did Rainfalls with the help of Judy Albanese, Brutal Bill, Mike Scan remixes. And then from that point, I started dancing on MTV. I moved to the city at that time. I started working at different corporations, hedge funds, private equity firms, technology companies. And I was doing my music at night, working the corporations during the daytime. Started working at all these other different clubs in New York and Connecticut, going back and forth. And then I started putting out my own Lisa Pure records with the help of Giuseppe D, Extreme Records, Dave Mondo, and that was the late 90s, early 2000s.
We're going to talk about that. I want to take it back to, because I got some stuff I got to ask you. I'm man. First of all, I know, before this all even started, right? We're going to get into a lot of that stuff. I understand you wanted to be a lawyer before this music even started.
Yes, that was my passion. I wanted to be a lawyer. I actually wanted to do forensics, maybe become an FBI agent. I wanted to study under Dr. Henry Lee. And then at that point, I started going to school more for business and finance. And then I ended up moving to the city to pursue music, and that all started taking off. And like I said, I started working at all these different corporations, primarily as an executive assistant. And then I ended up down the road starting my own company about 10 years ago, working for attorneys. So I ended up working in the legal field anyway, and now I close deals for attorneys on a daily basis all day long.
Wow, that's crazy, man. That is crazy. Now, I also read and this is going back to your childhood, that you know, your father used to play records around the house, and I know you have a couple of artists like Whitney Houston, and
he was very influential in exposing me to a lot of different music, from the Motown sounds and R&B to pop, rock, all these different types of things. And we would all dance as a family and listen to him playing the vinyl, and we would just have a great old time at home. That plus church and school gave me that whole foundation to keep going, and I actually wrote and performed my first song in the 7th grade.
Wow, dang, man, that's insane.
So I always had that passion for that, and my dad was actually a gym teacher, coach, and ref, so I was always heavily involved in athletics. I used to play golf in tournaments as a kid. I played basketball, softball, volleyball, gymnastics. I did pretty much everything.
Oh, so you was already out the gate as a health nut. You started out fitness.
Thanks to my mom and dad. My mom was actually an opera singer and a dancer too. So.
Oh man! Wow.
I had a good foundation from them.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So, I also read. So you say you worked at the legendary nightclubs, the Tunnel and the Limelight. Also the bar. I can't. From in Connecticut.
Yep.
I know you started.
Connecticut first.
Yeah.
Tommy Bones and Nomad,
mm-hmm.
2 DJs from Connecticut, actually took me to my very first club, Vinyl Sound Factory Tunnel. We used to be at Twyla with Junior Vasquez. Danny Tenaglia was a big inspiration. Junior as well. Like I said, Jonathan Peters at Sound Factory, Eddie Baez. All of these, early DJs were big influences to me in where my music was ending up going. But one of my first inspirations was Christine W.
Wow.
So she was like, I was sort of trying to sound like her in a way because I was such a fan of hers,
mm-hmm.
and I loved her music. So I sort of started doing things like inspired by her, and other artists, of course, like Crystal Waters, Saltrinate, Joy Cardwell. There's so many, Anaya Day. So, Zelma Davis,
Yeah. And the thing is, so did you know this is what you wanted? Because I know you started out as dancing in the clubs and everything like that. But did you know? Okay, I'm gonna go from dancing to I'm gonna go ahead and do this vocal. I'm gonna go ahead and start, recording it. Start singing. Did you actually know?
I always wanted to do the singing first. Like I said, that was where my passion really was, even at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
But I always loved to dance too. So remember how we had like teen nights and junior middle school and high school and things like that. So I was always dancing, and I always loved dancing. And of course, like I said, dancing around the house with my family,
mm-hmm. with
music, it was always like a hand-in-hand type of thing, My parents used to go out to clubs, even with my oldest sister, who's 10 years older than me, when I was young also. So they were always like out going dancing and doing things too. So it was always, something that was the norm, I would say, So for me,
mm-hmm.
I wanted to get into the singing, but, it's really hard how do you do that? How do you make those connections? And I did like a couple of demos and things, but it was the dancing and
mm-hmm.
working in those clubs that actually introduced me to producers and people who were involved in actually making the records. And that didn't happen until I started dancing in New Haven. I met Joe Carano, who used to do a lot of work for Junior Vasquez with Welcome Production. That was my very first studio session that I did in New Haven.
Yeah.
And then from there, like I said, when I was working at the Tunnel, I actually did my song Rain Falls with 2 producers and promoters of Tunnel. And then I ended up just meeting all of those different DJs and things from being exposed to that. So
mm-hmm.
from one connection went to the next. You start doing things, the ball kept rolling in a positive direction. So I didn't know that I could actually make all of these things happen until you actually start doing that and you get into it more and more and more and you get some good feedback. But, you make a lot of mistakes along the way. You maybe learn, from your mistakes.
Yeah.
You learn from, however you can progress over the years, and you just hone your craft and get better and better. But I was always in the mindset that I never knew if music could be the only way of making money and being successful like that. So I always kept in the back of my mind, what other type of business can I do and create for myself so I could sort of do two parallel lives at the same time, working for these people who are CFOs, CTOs, COOs, all these C-level executives, learning business from them which those work ethics could one day apply to me creating my own business. And I parlayed that, like I said, into working for these attorneys now in real estate, became a realtor, title closer, and I work for a lot of different facets of the legal world, finance, and real estate now.
Wow, that's smart. So, you got to have something to fall back on. Got to.
Thank you. And now what I'm trying to do is sort of raise capital. And I haven't been so active in the last few years. So a lot of people have said, where did you go? You didn't have all these records out like you did in the past. And I took a step back in a way because I wanted to focus on building my business outside of music. So I sort of built the foundation to the house to be more successful so I could get the capital together and do proper videos, because what I'm lacking right now is a lot of the videos. So I wanted to take a step back, generate some more income, and then sort of do it my own way and more so in an independent fashion. So, you could progress and do things at your own pace in a way.
Yeah, I can understand that too. So in those clubs, you did promotion too as well, right?
Yeah.
I got to ask you about DJs like producer Louis Vega. I know you say you did couple, some promotion for him as well coming up,
Well, he was actually doing a lot of events and still is with David Morales. And David Morales and I became very good friends.
Yes.
Maybe 15 years ago or more. And that also, that stemmed into us doing some records. And from that point, he knew that I could run the guest list and work sort of as a road manager in certain events and work the door, because when you have a good door person that actually knows the industry, they can actually work a door in conjunction with some other people a little bit better because you know their people.
Yeah.
So after all of these years, 20 years of doing this in the music business in New York, you know the record label people, you know the other DJs, the other artists, and you can sort of be a little bit more kind or recognize certain people when they're coming up to the door and say, oh, no, they're with David, they're with Louis, let them in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did a lot of that and had the confidence in those guys, and that helped me. And also, my relationship with Todd Terry, Roger Sanchez, all of these things along the way helped me. So I did some promotions for pretty much everybody that I was working with. Wow. So it ended up parlaying into a little bit of a business end for that, not only for my music, but you can make some money and team up with these guys and help them with promotions and their events as well.
Wow. I know a lot of people know you as being on the hit MTV show Global Grooves back in the 90s, late 90s with DJ Scribble.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, I used to watch that
Scribble's
show all the time.
a very good friend of mine as well for many, many years.
Yeah, man. How did you get started with that?
So I went on and on. Oh, actually, I think I was discovered at one of the clubs I was dancing at. They came up to me. And they said, would you like to audition for MTV? And I said, of course. So I auditioned, and then I started actually promoting different events for them, getting dancers and different promos for people like Paul Oakenfold. Did a whole event in Rockefeller Center at one point for the movie Swordfish with John Travolta, Halle Berry, Hugh Jackman. So I promoted that whole event and basically took care of all of MTV's needs for that event. I danced at 5 years of MTV Music Awards in addition to Global Grooves. So all of that was really at the same time that I started putting out my very first records. And I moved to Midtown in Manhattan and lived in a recording studio with a bunch of these guys that I was speaking about from Tunnel. And that's how all of that really started happening, because I was living in the recording studio, going to work at these corporations, dancing at MTV at the same time. So I was doing all three of those things at the same time. This sort of launched my career in visibility.
Man, you had a lot going on, man. Wow. I got to ask, what was the set like on Global Grooves?
So I was always actually on the part which was the top roof of the MTV building, which is right in Times Square. So we would get up there, and I think there was probably about 20 of us, more or less, and they would take you, I don't know if you remember the show, they would take you from all these different areas. So there would be people on one of those tour buses, there'd be people on a beach in Florida, there'd be people somewhere in a desert dancing or something, and then they'd, flash back to the top of the MTV building.
Yeah,
so
I remember that.
It was always me being in that part of that set.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
I was fascinated by that.
Yeah.
That was,
it
wow,
was
this
neat.
is crazy.
Definitely a good experience.
Wow.
Nope.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You recorded your first collaboration track back in '99 with Alex.
Yeah, it was 98, 99, somewhere around there.
Rainfalls, right?
Yep, Rainfalls, which was redone and remixed and done quite a few times over my career.
Man, how did you come up with the lyrics for that? How did you guys come up with that?
That was written by Artie Cabrera.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and Judy Albanese actually helped me with the vocal arrangements and did some backgrounds on the very first novice. It was difficult to actually get into the right frame of exactly what I was doing. So,
okay.
Fresh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Artie's an excellent songwriter, and we actually started a rock band back then. Where
Oh, really?
We were doing different songs that he had actually written, and we would do covers of different rock bands, the heavy metal bands. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, man. Something you learn new every day, man. I tell you. Did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, I was always really big into the hair bands and stuff, like in the 80s when I was in school.
Yeah.
So I used to love like bands like Rat and Motley Crue, and it was awesome that I actually became friends with Tommy and, met all these different people along the way. So it was really cool to, sort of meet some of my childhood, superstars or whatever along the way,
Yes. Yeah.
Very cool. And I met everybody at MTV, of course,
Yeah.
So that was awesome. I saw Michael Jackson there, and
Wow.
Janet Jackson was always like, Janet, Mariah, Whitney Houston. Those were always like my three favorites, I would say. Madonna, of course.
Oh yeah, gotta put him in, not Madonna, man.
Yep.
What was it
So
like
to be
meeting
at MTV
those?
and see all of them, that was amazing.
I mean, did you ever have conversation? What was it like meeting those? Meeting like Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, all the artists that you came across?
Well, I was able to be in their presence, but never have an actual conversation. And I'm kicking myself because one night just recently, Tony Touch had Janet Jackson at Funkbox. And my friend was telling me about it, but told me too late when I was already in bed, my face washed and everything else. And then he goes, Janet Jackson's here. And I was like, oh my God, my idol, she's there? And I missed it.
Oh. I always wait
It
at
was
the
too
wrong
late at
time.
that point to roll out of bed and go over there. It was too late. But I would have loved to meet her.
Always at the bad time, but you get your chance. You got that feeling.
Yeah.
Now your first solo record, I'm Over You, which it was a banger.
Yes.
Being that was your
that's
first
when Lisa
solo.
Pure actually came to life.
Yes. That's when Lisa Pure said, "Hey, here I am, world."
Yeah. I'm actually redoing that record right now.
Oh,
And
really?
I don't know if you saw, I had posted in my Instagram story just the other day, I had a remix being worked on from DJ Aristocrat, who's in Russia. So I sent it out to a bunch of different people that I know, so I'm working on some new remixes of that to bring it back to life.
I gotta ask you, what were you feeling when you wrote that track?
Oh, that's based on a true story.
I kind of figured that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely based on a true story, and everyone back home and at that time that were my friends, they all knew who it was about.
Yeah, oh man.
So it was sort of, one of those things that, you could thank God that that situation had happened, so I had that emotion. But even when I was in the 7th grade, my very first song that I wrote was called Broken Heart.
Oh, wow.
When I was in the 7th grade. So you could see all of these little love songs or something about a relationship. The tearjerkers or heart-wrenching type situations. They're always good, inspirations.
Yeah, they're great tracks. I mean, that's the thing. Like anything somebody can relate to, it's going to be a great track.
But I had people along the way tell me that stop doing love songs, Lisa. Write about other things. What's going on? So I tried to do some other things and focus on, some like party type situations or whatever.
Now I know Lisa Pure is your stage name, but your real name is Lisa Pura, right? Am I pronouncing that right?
So in Slovakia, you would say Pura.
Pura.
Pura. Yep. So it's sort of a play on my actual name.
Yeah.
But it would be Lisa Pajura, which is sort of an Americanized, but it's not as pretty as Lisa Pura, but it is what it is. Everybody here says Lisa Pajura.
Pajura.
So it was actually, I was racking my head trying to think of a stage name, and Giuseppe D, who actually was the producer on that song, I'm Over You. And we were over here, and my dad's just, talking about what we were going to do and plan and da-da-da. And I'm like, what am I going to do for a stage name? He's like, how about just Lisa Pure?
Wow.
So he thought of it, and it's, because I'm like, Lisa Pure, and he's like, just do Lisa Pure.
That name fits you so well. It really does. Man.
It just works. It's more catchy, and people can't confuse how the heck to say my last name in real life.
Yeah. I mean, did you have that name before you recorded your first solo track, or did that come about after?
Yeah, actually, when we were doing I'm Over You, that's when it really came out, because I was using, it was just the collective, and that right around the same time as like Rainfalls and all of that, we talked about Lisa Pure. So right at that beginning, that's when that name came to fruition.
Oh, amazing. Man.
Yeah. It just worked out, and I stuck with it, and, it's, like I said, a lot easier than my real name.
No, I know you co-wrote the track.
Danny Buddha Morales and Ever Delicious.
Oh, it was David Ryan. Okay.
And so when I did it with them, Roger and I met for the first time down at the Winter Music Conference that year. And he said, hey, I'm working on a solo album. Do you want to be a part of stuff? Where do you live? I'm like, I'm in Connecticut. He's like, I'm in Jersey. Let's do this. So when I got back home from that, we got together, and what we did was Law.
That's right.
And that song he actually created based off of another song that he had did a remix for back in the day. So that actually was transformed from another song and adapted into Law.
Wow.
Yep. And then we did The Love You Bring Me with Carl Kennedy, and a couple other songs, Hot for You, and some other things along the way. And then I started working with some other people. I was nominated for Best New Artist at the International Dance Music Awards, and then lost it Billboard #1 on the dance charts. And then I just started working with all these other different producers around the world, and thank God that song was really big. We also went on the Heineken Thirst Tour, World Tour, and I was able to start seeing the world with him, and that started everything as far as touring was concerned. So I'm very, very lucky for that.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
And, like I said, I never really thought that things could really progress and take off. So I'm really, very fortunate. I'm blessed for all of that.
Now I gotta ask you, when you talk about being in the studio and you record, what's the vibe like? What motivates you? Do you have to have a certain food or something before you record? How's that coming?
No, I mean, back in the day, it's funny. I used to eat like a McDonald's cheeseburger before I used to record, because for some reason, like, when you would eat something like that, it would sort of coat my throat in a way and not get dried out and things like that. So I used to do that, and of course, like honey and tea and different things like that to help, But I would always do something like that. It was so odd, but that was back in the day. Now I do a lot of recording at home, and so for me, it's just sort of like when I have the time and I get home from work or set aside some time, then I go and I try to focus on different things. So I'm sort of beyond what I actually need to do to prepare for things, because I guess I'm a little bit more seasoned now, thank God, and I've been doing this for a while now, that it's just sort of when the mood strikes me or the right situation strikes me. And of course, as a writer, as an artist, you can't really just go in there and always know that you're going to come out with something that's great. There's a lot of times that you have writer's block, and it's things that every writer goes through. And, you have to have your moments where you step away from your craft. You do different things in life experiences to come back and have things to inspire you and write about. And, you know, a lot of times people get frustrated and they even come to me and they say, God, I'm going through the situation. Like, what do you do? And I was like, well, you know, you're not alone in this. It happens to everybody. There's a lot of times that you start things that you never finish.
Yeah.
There's every producer and every artist has a plethora of things over time that they're like, oh, I'll go back and finish that. Or they try to do it and rework it a million times and they drive themselves crazy, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I sort of correlated to a marathon runner can't run a marathon every single day of their life, can they? They have to take breaks. They have to do things to, you know, be more healthy, step away, and just get back to it when you feel is the right time.
That's right. So
Not
speaking
putting so much pressure on yourself.
yeah, can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
You'll pass out. Go ahead.
No, that's, you know, that's
Yeah.
why, again, I'm fortunate that I have some other, you know, businesses and things that I do too. So
Yeah.
there was a point in time where I was just doing music all of the time and touring all of the time. And then you had that pressure of, oh my God, when am I going to do the next gig and the next performance and whatnot? And there was a time, you know, back when I first started that there was a certain level of gigs out there for singers like me. And the DJs actually became the superstars. So a lot of us artists have felt like, oh no, we're losing the gigs and stuff because, you know, the venues, they don't want to pay for two different things to happen at the same time. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's certain variables in bringing in a live act that actually cause a lot of problems and situations. And if you don't have the right sound equipment, sound people, that it would actually work against the club and the venue to have a live performance. So, you know, I felt that stress at some point where I was constantly worried about, oh no, what am I going to do? So, you know, I parlayed it into these other businesses, and I really love doing what I'm doing within the real estate stuff too. So I like both worlds.
Wow. Yeah, I can see it. I can hear it in your voice too.
Yeah. It's
Very
nice to help
passionate
people with
about
that
it.
too, and I meet different
Yeah.
people every day. I'm helping people save money, and you know, when you buy somebody or you find somebody buying a house and you want to help them with their dream and things like that, that's,
Yeah.
you know, that's great. It's a great feeling.
I want to get into like a couple of your tracks. Do you mind
Oh.
if we get into Lost? I'll have you
No, of
introduce it.
course. Great. Thank you.
So I'll have you do the proper introduction, and you know we'll go right into it.
All right, great. So this is Lost, which was my Billboard #1 single with Roger Sanchez, who won a Grammy with No Doubt, and it appeared on Stealth Records and also Ultra Records.
Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
What an amazing track, man. That's one of my. I gotta say that's one. I got a lot of favorites, but that's one of my favorites. Lost is
you.
one of my favorites.
Really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to Roger.
Man, I'll tell you. So, I know you traveled a lot of places. What was it like touring for the first time, working with Roger Sanchez as well?
Oh, amazing. And he's a perfectionist, and he's very, very precise about, you know, his business and his work ethic. And so you learn a lot from someone like that. And the travel was intense at certain times too. So as a vocalist also, you have to also take care of your voice. So you have to get your proper rest, and you know, the grind that he does, and he's so, you know, on point with the travel, and you do press, and you do the sound check, and you have dinner with the people who are booking you, and you have at times minimal sleep, and you get right back onto a plane, and you get to the next country and the next venue, and you know, it's a grind, you know, but again, you learn a lot from somebody who's as successful and dedicated to his craft as Roger.
And you toured over 30 countries, right?
Yeah.
So
It's been a whirlwind at times.
Well,
I've had some really crazy situations.
oh, man. I'm almost
Touring
afraid
Vietnam,
to ask you.
things like that. That was an experience.
Now, what was your favorite place to actually perform?
You know, everybody asks me that, but it wouldn't be one place.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because when you do as much travel and things, there's so many different amazing places in the world that, you know, you could see. And I'll tell you, the most love that I got was from when I toured in El Salvador many times.
Mm-hmm.
So my fans there were like unlike anywhere else in the world that I had gone to, and the love that I had received from them was amazing, and it'll always impact my memories and my life in a lot of senses of, you know, my career. But Montreal was also, I would say, the number one touring destination for the amount of times that I actually went outside of the country. So I did a lot of that in my early days. And, you know, places like Sydney and Morocco and Ibiza. And there's a lot of, you know, awesome tropical countries that I was able to go to, Dominican Republic and different islands. And Colombia was amazing. Venezuela. There's a lot. All the Asian countries. I hit a lot of Asian countries. Vietnam, I'll never forget. And, you know, Singapore, Tokyo. There's just too many to name. They're all very, very beautiful in their own way. So I can't really pinpoint just one. You know? I've been very fortunate to do what I've done.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. So I gotta ask, when you're in front of thousands of people and you take the stage, what kind of vibe are you feeling? Like, do you just zone out and say, I'm gonna tear this place apart? They gonna know Lisa Peel was here. Like, it's
really the biggest adrenaline rush that you could ever imagine. And the most that I ever performed for was about 75,000 people for Diversité, which is a huge, like, gay pride festival in Montreal. So that year, that was just intense. And again, El Salvador, when I touched that stage and every single person out there, thousands of people, were singing Lost back to me and screaming, and the second that I walked into that venue, the kids were like crying at the sight of me. I was just like, whoa, what is going on right now? It was definitely something that I never experienced before in the U.S. and in New York and things like that, because in New York, that's my home, you know what I mean? So it was weird when you go outside of the country and people actually knew so much of your music and were so touched by that. So that is just exhilarating, and you know, you could be taken aback by that type of energy and vibe, but the great thing about doing your own music is that you can't really screw up. You know what I mean? If you have the mindset of that. When I used to do covers and different things and you used to get judged on the way you were singing other people's songs, that always created this sense of, you know, like a stage fright or fear in a sense sometimes, because you were judged. When you're doing your own music, you should be having fun with it and just doing whatever, you know, comes to your mind, and you just do the best that you can, hopefully, you know.
I strongly agree.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you gotta have fun with it.
You always. And if it's not fun, then you have to step back for a second and then regroup and make it fun again.
That's true.
You know, not everything is going to be a forward positive momentum. A lot of artists have like setbacks and different things along the way, and you know, you have to just keep trudging forward and pushing on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
So I got to bring up the legendary Todd Terry.
Yeah, oh the gosh.
How did you guys, you and Todd Terry, hook up to make the track Find a Way? Did you guys write that together? Like, that's a classy track, man.
So that was my my idea.
Oh.
So I actually wrote that whole vocal and everything, and Todd came in and we collaborated, and he's a genius, a musical genius, as you know. He's had so many hits along the way and really has been one of the creators of this whole movement of house music, and is a legend. So to work with someone like that who's seasoned, who can come in, play keys, put all the elements together, and, you know, I might not be the best at sort of creating the key lines and everything else and putting the musical end of everything together, where you need somebody like Todd Terry, where he could sit down with you and he would just say, just give me the material, Lisa, and we'll just do it. He would always say, like, give me similes and metaphors and we could do the rest, you know what I mean? So he could kind of like transform and mold and shape the way that I was creating my vocals, and, you know, the arrangements and stuff would come. So, you know, you could sit down in the studio and create something very easily with someone of his capabilities.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
oh,
a
yeah.
musical genius.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Sunshine came first, though. Then we did Find a Way.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and we also did a collaboration called Touch Me with David Morales. So all of those things came about at the same time, which is really cool.
And you work with a lot of labels, right? So
a lot of different labels all over the world, more so, I would say independent labels. A lot of different majors had picked up some of my things along the way, more so for compilations from other things that I did with independent labels. And then I ended up creating my own imprint too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about. How did that come about with you starting your own label?
So Giuseppe D, who I said, helped me at the very beginning with I'm Over You, he's been very influential in developing me along the way as well. So he and I started, discussing different things and what we could do, and we did some other different performances and tour dates and stuff together along the way, and he created that with me. So he was the one that started me off and said, you need your own imprint, let's do this. So he was influential in doing that. And we're actually going to be working on some more things too, so there's a lot more to come with him as well.
Oh, wow.
So we did What's on My Mind, and that was actually a song that we recorded back in 2000, I want to say like something like that. And we sort of held on to it, and we didn't really put it out. And then, just a few years ago, we said, we need to dust that thing off and bring it back. And like I said, remember, we have a lot of these records along the way that maybe you don't finish and whatnot. So that was one of them where we were like, let's bring that out of the archives and actually do it. And so we did that on Pure Movement Music and brought that out on that imprint.
Man.
So that just came out recently.
Wow. Yeah, I want to actually get into another track. The track that we talked about, though. I ain't gonna even say. I'm gonna let you introduce it, and then we gonna get into it. I love this right here. Had a chance to listen to
so which one are we talking about? Are we talking about the one that I'm coming out with, One Life?
Yes. And this is an exclusive, right?
Yeah, this is the new one.
Oh, man.
We actually, me and Groover in Serbia, we were introduced when he did the second round of putting out Rainfalls. He did one of those mixes and we became friends, and he actually was the writer of this song. And we teamed up and collaborated, and then we put out all the mixes together. Some of the New York guys, some people from overseas. And so now Brutal Bill, who actually did a remix, and we've been very, very close over 20 years of my career, he did one of the first remixes of Rainfalls. He actually started his own imprint and record label called Sector. So he's picking that up, and we're going to put that out hopefully next week. If not, I could keep everybody posted on the proper release date for that. And we have trance remixes, we have house, we have techno, we're sort of all different types of dance music, and we're really excited for that to come out. So this is the original mix of One Life with me and Groover.
Let's get into it, y'all. Y'all in for a treat, man. Oh.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Welcome back.
You know that track defines you? It defines you. It really does, man. I love it. I can't wait until you have more come out, man. That's beautiful.
Thank
man.
You.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of remixes in that package coming out, so everybody can check that out, hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
You guys hear that? Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Lisa Pure about
and then
to drop
also,
some.
my latest release, too, before this one comes out, was a remix by B. Quiche. And he's a DJ over in Germany who did a remix of Find a Way that you were just talking about with me and Todd Terry. So that actually came out on vinyl, which was really cool to get the mail with the vinyl record that came from overseas. And I was surprised by that. He didn't even tell me that that was going to be produced on vinyl. So that was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, all my first records had come out on vinyl. And then, of course, as we know, technology progressed and then vinyl sort of fell off. And now it's back. So it's very cool.
Now, I got to bring this up, too. Your health is the real wealth. I know if the listeners don't know, you heavy into fitness. You're heavy. You hit the weights hard, from what I hear.
Well, like I said, I was very athletic because of my dad so many years with all the different sports and whatnot. And I started weight training, I would say, when I was 18, I think.
Oh, wow.
So I was always into that. But, over the years, it's sort of developed into other different things like yoga and Tai Chi. And, of course, I've always been avid with the dancing, but a lot of weight training along the way.
What's a typical fitness day for you?
A typical fitness day, you said?
Yeah, like a workout session for you.
Well, I usually break my workouts into 4 days of training. So I usually do back and biceps, chest and tries, shoulders with calves, and you could do abs every day and one severe leg day. And then all the other days, I do a lot of yoga, stretching, foam roller. I have like a workout that I do on the foam roller itself, and a lot of planks, push-ups, different things. And like I said, Tai Chi also, so a lot of that. So.
And do you have, what's your diet plan like? You're not vegan, are you?
You know, I've actually been progressing towards a lot of days that I'm not eating meat, but it's kind of hard to go completely vegan at times for me. My life on the road, too, with what I'm doing, I'm driving a lot of the time that I'm at work, too, so it's sort of a little difficult. Like, I always have to meal prep and whatnot, but I've sort of been moving towards vegan, but there are certain days that I feel like I need to have, you know, meat in my diet.
Oh, yeah.
But I have done a lot of juicing and things over the last few years. So a lot of incorporating of that. And I also am sponsored by Biome. It's BIOHM. And that's actually, it's a product that's developed by a doctor, and it's basically like a cleanse type thing, and greens powder and whatnot, supplement that you use, and it cleans you out completely. And it actually has things in it that can clear away the plaque that can build along the insides of you. So that's a great addition. It's always been really good since I started it.
Wow.
Yeah. So juicing of that and different greens, and, you know, moving more towards more vegetables and lean protein always. But I have my days where I'm Lisa Pizza, and pizza has always been a very big thing for me in my life, and I am a pizza connoisseur, so I can't stay away from that.
I mean, you have to.
New Haven, everybody here is always known about Sally's and Pepe's, so that's world-renowned pizza. So.
Wow, yeah, you have to fit that in. I can't give up on stuff, man. I can't. I understand.
Yeah.
So now that's
my house, my life. Me and my dad always hit the pizza joint. So.
Oh, you have to. You have to.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't eat clean all the time.
Yeah. You have to have some junk. Some. Just some.
I
Not
think
overdo
so.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
So does that reflect on the creativity of your music in your life? Just being fit, you know, as far as like having a strong mindset, you know, to go in and, you know, do what you need. What you need to do is at least appear.
Well, I think, you know, just having sort of a good ethic in every sense of the word.
Welcome
the word,
back.
It's your diet, it's proper rest, sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of times that us artists being on the road and everything, we don't get some proper sleep, depending like what I was talking about, you know, the tour grind and whatnot. But I don't know if it's always just the proper diet doing that stuff. I think that inspiration and just being able to use a notepad, use your voice recorder on your phone, try to write whatever you can, and being active and you know, developing your skills and writing, and maybe taking different classes and courses and retreats, and there's different songwriting things that you can do to help you improve. And also, you know, being exposed to working with different producers and collaborating with different people and different writers, that always helps you too.
Yeah. Oh,
you know?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, you know, you have to get your proper rest and eat good, but, you know, we can't always be perfect all of the time, that's for sure. You know.
Now I understand also, we talked about this earlier, you have a special organization called Pure Foundation that you started also, that you're trying to build up. What inspired you to do that?
Well, I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I went through a pretty bad situation myself and got out of that, and sort of learned from experiencing that type of situation how to handle certain things in the future, and sort of guide a few other people. And I've actually used different apartments that I had along the way in New York as safe houses for different people to help different people out. So I sort of felt like that was a calling in a sense to help and give back, and that's something that's been, you know, quite a movement, like the name suggests, and everything with my Pure Movement music and the Pure Foundation and all of these other things that, you know, you can move towards helping people and giving back and using your platform as an artist and developing, you know, a fan base over the years. it's really important for me to give back, and philanthropy and things like that have been more prevalent to me in my years over the last maybe 7 years, I would say. So I feel good helping people.
Yeah. I want to ask you, do you have any advice you can give up-and-coming artists who are trying to enter the music industry? What the do's and don't, what to look out for, stuff that you may have went through in the past as an artist that you don't want anybody else to go through?
Okay, so I would definitely say protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that could be in a lot of different situations. Okay, so as an artist, it's always a good idea, if you're a woman, if you're a guy, either way, there's things that you could run into where you have to stay away from certain types of people in dangerous situations. You never put yourself in a bad situation in the sense where it's always good to go with somebody to a studio session, okay? To have somebody, even if they're just waiting outside the door for you. So that's one thing. Protect yourself in sort of agreements and production agreements, and getting a copy of things that you're putting down as far as your vocals and your writing, and, copywriting your things that you create. And, making sure that you don't give up if that's your passion and you want to keep doing it and doing whatever feeds your soul, then, you run into a lot of highs and low in your career, so you just never give up,
Yeah.
But like I said, also, there's different songwriting things that you can get involved in and workshops and whatnot. So if you belong to BMI, ASCAP, CSAC, there's different organizations that they have different things that you could go to in the major cities. And like I said, there's songwriting retreats and, doing things like that. But also being proactive. Like, nobody's gonna make you a star. It's gonna be how much you put into your effort. And also, I don't think you should go into the music business wanting to be a star. I think you should want to go into the music business because you have a message and your artistry wants to speak for itself, rather than, I want to go make $1 million and be on stage and be famous.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
you need to go in with the right mindset of being more proactive in your writing, your messages, developing your stories and things like that. And I think that's really, really important. And social media and things like that, it's very important to be on top of, promoting yourself these days,
Oh, yeah.
The more that you can do to develop your craft and promote is better.
Yeah. The thing is, too, what I like about you, Lisa, is that you have this mindset to where you came into the game and you was like, you know what? I love dancing. I love doing music. But you know what? I want to learn what they know. I want to learn what they know. I want to learn,
Thank you.
Editing. I want to learn anything that I can do. And once I know what they know, I don't have to ask people to do things for me. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's I
but you know
love
what,
that,
though?
man.
I also should think that there's a lot of things that I could do more, and everybody can always do more with their career. But when you're working with people at the level of Roger and Todd and David and things like that, you sort of let these producers also be the producers. And it's great to want to know how to do everything.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult and I give it to the artists that can produce and sing and DJ and do all of these things, because it's very, very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of other things that I still would like to learn, or maybe I haven't gotten to that point yet, so I could do more with production and things like that over the years to come, and learn the piano more than I know it now and different things. But, you can always let the producers be the producers.
That's right.
And learn how to do top lines and write, the vocals and things, and let the maestros be the maestros in a sense. You know what I mean? But also know that today you could do all different angles, and being in the studio with these guys and learning from them and applying it to your own work in the future, that's a blessing.
Yeah, it is.
And it's all what you get out of it is what you put into it.
That's right.
You can do anything these days.
And you gotta be passionate about it. You got to. And I
Yeah,
see
your
that
passion and your work ethic,
Yeah.
your heart will set you apart. There's a lot of things that you can teach people. You can't teach somebody how to hustle. It's like you either have it in you and that desire to keep pushing forward, or you don't.
That's right.
No one's going to push you. You have to do it ultimately yourself.
That's right. So I got to ask you, out of all the things that you've done, I know you accomplished a great number of things. What have you accomplished that you are most proud of?
Really helping people. So like I said, being able to help these certain women and families when they had no one.
Oh, beautiful.
And got them through bad situations. That to me is that touches people and yourself in a way that, creating music sometimes that doesn't, because you're actually changing lives. Now, a song like Lost and something like that has touched people all over the world, that's my proudest musical thing that I could say that I've created, obviously. But when you can actually change someone's life in a sense and give them a better life in a way, and I've helped people with inspiring them to get different jobs and change, different patterns of what they were doing with the knowledge that I had that I could actually, hand down to somebody else and say, hey, I learned how to do this. Maybe you should do this and try this. And then they took the ball and they ran with it. That to me is more valuable than, just creating a song. You know what I mean? When you can actually take your platform and you use it to inspire people and it touches people to change their lives, that's a better feeling to me.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. That's why one of the
what
greatest. I mean? Yeah, like one of the greatest feelings
all
in the
the
world.
musical things that I've done, that was amazing, and being able to travel and do everything and all of that. But when you can actually touch people like that, that's the best feeling, really.
Yeah, I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
It feels so good to give people something, man, that's meaningful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does. It transforms you, And when we were on tour, actually, one of the moments that I could remember is right after the tsunami in 2004, we went on tour to Indonesia. And we actually were around the people that had lost everything. And we performed for them, and we had a lot of really tear-jerking moments with people that were so thankful that we actually were there. You know what I mean? And the outside of that area.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fill the listeners in on the future stuff. What can we expect from Lisa Peer in the future? I know you got some stuff coming out soon. Any performances, events, concerts that's coming up as well?
I'm working on some different events, so I'll keep people posted on what I'm actually going to be doing. I'm hoping to do some record release parties, and there's been some discussion about some other events like in Long Island and New York and things like that, and Connecticut. So there'll be some things coming up, but that's soon to be locked down, and see where we can head with that stuff. I'm really more focused on getting these productions out, and it's really important to get new music out so you can get the momentum going and touring and stuff again, because you need to have new music come out. So that's where I'm trying to get all of these new things out. And I actually started working on some more pop R&B type things too, and some ideas for commercials and different things that I'm actually formulating and working with different producers now. So, and we'll see what happens with that stuff.
Wow, amazing,
man.
I'm
going to keep growing, evolving, and maybe put out an EP with some R&B pop stuff.
Oh, that would be great. That would be beautiful. Oh, man.
Yeah, I've been working on some R&B things for a few years now, but now it's been a little bit more so than what I've been doing in the past. I'll still, of course, keep my fan base satisfied, hopefully, with the house and different projects. And like I said, I have a trance remix by Anthony Nikita. He's coming out with that for One Life. And his sister, Melissa Nikita and V-Tone, they actually introduced me to him, so that's going to be like one of the first trance things. I had some trance remixes in the past for other different records, but that's going to be part of this package too, so it's kind of cool to have all three types of dance music on this one.
Oh, dope, man. Wow. So who would you like to collab with in the future, as far as R&B, pop, house, whatever type of artist? Like, who would you like to collab with?
Oh, boy. Well, I think I'd love to collaborate with Eric Murillo and Danny Tenaglia, some of these guys that have been legends that I haven't gotten a chance to do things with. And I'm not sure about where I'm going to be headed with the R&B type stuff yet, but, I have a lot of different influences along the way with that. So I don't know as far as that's concerned, but I've been working a lot on my own creations and learning the piano more and trying to sort of get into that, approach more of working on that and then see what happens with collaborations in the future.
Look forward to seeing and hearing what you have in store.
Thank you. It's a lot of work, and managing my business during the day and all of the driving and all of the work that it takes to do all of that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time up. So when I can and focus on music more frequently in the future, I'll be doing so. But I have to take some time off soon and start really focusing on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Could you let the listeners know how they can find you, your social media, website?
Oh, absolutely. So I have lisapure.com, which has pretty much all of the links that you can find me at, with the Instagram, Lisa Pure. Facebook is Lisa Pure NYC. I'm on Spotify under Lisa Pure as well. YouTube channel under Lisa Pure. And Pure Movement Music, my label, also has a YouTube channel for that also. Then, I'm on iTunes, Beatport, TrackSource. So pretty much a lot of things there. So a lot to always keep up and update all the time.
Yes.
So.
Keep us posted.
You do the best that you can, and try to hit all these different areas that you could use to promote nowadays. So.
Oh yeah.
It's great. Social media helps everybody.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Yeah. But lisapure.com is the easiest thing to remember.
Oh,
I would say.
Yeah, that's not hard at all. Y'all got that. Listeners got that. They got that. Well, Lisa, it's been a pleasure having you on Chill Lover Radio.
Thank you so much for having me and everybody at Chill Lover.
You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime you
really
want to come back.
It. All right, cool.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for having me.
Chill Lover Radio
Okay,
listeners. Hey, Lisa Pure, there you have it. It's been a pleasure. Yeah. Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning in. All the Chill Lover Radio listeners, thank you for your support as always. You guys have a blessed week. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace. Peace.
That's right. Keep it locked right here where you got it. It's Chill Lover Radio.